Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we typically feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren. And today we are going to be talking about some comic book horror recommendations, our favorite movies, TV show. You know, we're going to talk about it all. It's a kind of a Halloween themed episode where we're going to give you our recommendations of things to watch, things to read, maybe some traditions that we have, and some of the things that we really love about Halloween. So if you like that, please stick around, hang out, Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform, any social media platform. Come chat with us. We really appreciate it. We are going to be doing a movie night this month on October 14th, actually, with our Patreons. And if you signed up to do the Hops Geek Booze for Haley run, where we donated and are running for pediatric brain cancer, that's going to be October 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So come hang out. We're going to be watching Deadpool and Wolverine together, hanging out, all of that good stuff. And then if you don't know how this show typically goes, we start off with the beer of the week. We go into what we've maybe messed up on. Maybe somebody has emailed us about some things. What we've been reading or watching lately, some news, and then of course our main topic. So my beer is fitting because it's been a really shitty day, man. Gonna be real with y'all. But I am drinking what's called Elixir from Apothecary Brewing out of North Reading, Massachusetts. Man, I actually had never heard or had this brewery before. My parents hooked me up. It's a double IPA. They've actually been around since 2017, which I thought is pretty cool. Handcrafted by Apothecary Ales and Elixir. In medicine, an elixir is a sweetened and aromatic hydroalcoholic water and alcohol liquid containing an active medicine. Alcohol is a vital component as it helps the medicine become more soluble. Our elixir is a double New England IPA that is not sweetened and contains no medicine, unless you consider water, hops, grain, or yeast medicine, which I do tonight.
I do.
Responsibly, of course. And this aromatic hop bomb is just what the doctor ordered, brother. And there's a recycling thing that says, if love in the earth is wrong, I don't want to be right. It's 8.1%. That's what I got. That voice you hear is Lauren. What do you have over there?
So I haven't tried mine yet because I was trying to do like a video for the TikTok and I did it too hard of a pour because I can't use two hands to properly pour. But I'm very excited to try this. This is something I've been hearing about for a while, and all of a sudden I found it at my local Publix. It's Allagash Haunted House Hoppy Dark Ale. So how fun is that can? Once this settles, I got it in my Jack glass. And of course I have my little Oogie Boogie here because the passing of Ken Page kind of took us all by surprise a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've had some big ones pass, but I was literally listening to Oogie Boogie song when you texted me that. So I was really surprised. And he was supposed to be at Spooky Empire like this month.
Dang.
So
yeah, he wasn't very old. Was it like 62 or something?
I don't know, but yeah, I don't think he was.
I mean,
Nightmare's 30 years old now.
Maybe he was 72. Maybe I'm just kidding. Anyways, he wasn't very old. So it's kind of a pour one out for the homies we've lost along the way, because that's one of the most iconic films of all time there. But quick note, like I said, Hops Geek Booze for Haley. Dude, there's so many people to shout out. Andrew, aka the Maynard Brewer. We got Lauren, myself, Stacy, Tabby, Riley, Tom,
Scott,
our pop culture
Patrick,
connoisseur,
Micah, Megan, Riley, and Tom. Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, shout out. Megan's from the Nerd Haven Facebook page and also the Vigilante Vibes podcast and part of Nerd Initiative. So is Tom. So go ahead, check them out as well. Big shouts to them. We're going to get together October 14th, the eve of my 34th birthday, and watch Deadpool and Wolverine, not a spooky movie, but Deadpool and Wolverine, and have some fun together and just kind of celebrate the celebration of creating all sorts of good stuff. And then also we have been working on, raising money for those in Asheville, because Asheville is really big, not only a beer town, but it's a really great town to go to. We've had family and friends there, really just got destroyed. That whole area pretty messed up. So I've raised almost $500 so far, thanks to a lot of really great people that have been willing to donate. So if you want to donate too, just go ahead, check our social medias out. My Venmo, my Cash App are all there to where you can go ahead and donate. And I'm going to make a big run. We're going to drop it all off for Operation Airdrop in Charlotte. And that's what we're going to kind of do. So from there, let's go into what we've been reading or watching. I will tell you right now that there's two things I want to briefly spoiler free talk about because they're not officially out yet. Absolute Batman. Got to read that from Scott Snyder. Holy smokes, folks. I don't think you're ready for what we're about to get with Absolute Batman. The Absolute run has been absolutely incredible. In
Ew.
this Batman run, you're going to see a whole different light of Bruce Wayne, a whole different light on Alfred and Gotham as a whole, and it's really good, dude. It's so good. Scott Snyder, man, Scott Snyder. So what can I say more than that? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #3 from IDW. I got to check out a little bit early, and this one focuses on Leonardo. Again, this has been a really more adult themed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run, and I can't recommend it enough if you're not reading it. It's so good. It's kind of brutal in areas. It's got its humor of the turtles, but they're more of like, hey, the brothers have split apart, and now they're trying to come back together in various ways. And then I did Redcoat issue #6, which kind of wraps up this first little mini arc that we've had
I actually
with
did read
Simon.
that one.
Oh, you did?
I did read it because I want to catch up on all the Ghost Machine
What'd you
because they're
think
going to
of
be
it?
at New York Comic Con next week. So
That's true.
it was interesting. So I read with the first two, I think, and then I hadn't read the middle ones because I want to read all of them. I'm trying to. I also sometimes like to wait for trade backs to buy them, and I'm like, oh no, but I want to
Yeah,
read them now. So
that's
I'm
fair.
struggling with that. But no, I liked it, but obviously there were some things that I didn't feel like I was too confused. It did seem like it made sense. They catch you up really good. So if like you feel like, oh, I don't want to jump in now, like I really felt like I understood exactly what was going on. But I thought what was funny was that of course the bad guy was who the bad guy was.
Yeah, I don't want to say
So
who
I
it is,
thought that
but
that was funny.
yeah. But I loved Simon's arc. He kind of really came around, and he's a character that really grew on me personally as you've read the first 6 issues. And then
Oh,
Albert Einstein wasn't ready for that cool, fun tag team, essentially, which is even better. From there, though, I did read Creature Commandos #1 from DC as they get ready for from David Malchin, actually, who is very familiar with the DC universe, as we all know. Polka Dot Man, some might know him as. And this is cool. And it's like a horror, it's DC Horror Presents. So it's really kind of spooky. It's got, you know, Wanda, Velcro, and Lucky, they have been recruited by the government. And instead of getting a bomb inside their head, it's like, what's the one thing you want most, basically? And you can get that if you help us out. And so, really, really good, man. It's setting us up for the show releasing in December, by James Gunn. And cannot recommend enough. Lauren and I did read Hyde Street, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. I've watched Supernatural. I'm on season 13, episode 9, making
really
headway.
getting to know
No big
Jack
deal.
now.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, Jack is
I've been looking
interesting.
forward to you getting to meet Jack.
Jack is interesting. I don't know how I feel about Jack yet, but we've got to listen to our Supernatural episodes to find out.
Jack has a lot
Agatha,
of ups and downs too.
Penguin, those are the things I've been into. So what have you been into? Let me guess. Hold on. Wolverine. Which one?
Deep Cut. Wolverine
Ah,
Deep Cut #4. So this was a 4-issue arc or 4-issue series. This is another one like Knights of Madripoor that Chris Claremont did. But what's cool about this one is it takes place. Oh gosh, I already forgot which one it was, but it ends right before Uncanny X-Men 251, and 251 is the one of Wolverine on the Giant X.
oh,
So this story takes place during that time. So then at the end, this isn't spoiling it, it's just leading in, and you see that he's about to get captured and put on that Giant X. So if this doesn't make sense what I'm saying, it's the scene we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I get exactly what you're saying. Don't worry.
And Chris Claremont wrote a lot of the Uncanny X-Men, and now he's doing these spin-offs. So I think that's really fucking cool to like dust these comics off. That like some of these comics are older than I am.
Yeah, if you
And
believe it.
I'm not young. So if you can believe it. And yeah, you mentioned Hyde Street. Real quick though, I did taste this beer. It is very roasty, very malty,
Ooh.
and so I didn't give it the respect that a cop killer deserves. So I do want to read on the back here. It
Did you
says,
say
"Cursed by our
cop
love
killer?
of." Yeah, you never watched Half Baked?
I
I'm not
I
giving the
didn't.
respect that a cop killer
I
deserves.
totally forgot. I was like, what the hell is she talking about for a second? I was like, what?
Well, you know what? I'm kind of glad you stopped me in case somebody else that was listening was like, "What the
Like,
fuck?"
did she say that? I think she
No,
did.
he's got to save poor Kenny and his virgin asshole. So cursed by our love of roasty porters, we summoned the recipe for haunted house. Roasted barley and black print malt cloak this ale in gravity dark hue, hopped with nougat, cascade, and northern brewer. Its flavor is filled with hauntingly balanced notes of coffee, malt, and devilish hint of hops. It is very, I feel like, malt forward. Like it kind of
Ah,
took me
is
by
that a good thing?
surprise how kind of dark it is. Yeah, no, it's good. It's not my go-to.
You
I'm gonna
can't
need
use
a
cop
copy
killer
here.
and dark in the same sentence, man. Come
Okay, well
on.
now you took it too far. Who's talking about poor
Jesus.
buttercup, butter snot,
Oh man.
butternut bush,
All
buttersquash.
right, let's talk Hyde Street for a second. Speaking of dark, because that comic book, Ghost Machine's newest with Ivan Reese. It's got Brad Anderson. It's also got Jeff Johns on the writing on this one too. And um, what'd you think? Because I basically it's about the street that kind of sucks you in.
It's always there. You
It's
can't
always
escape it.
there.
You
Yeah.
find it.
You have no way to get out of it, and it's got some characters that have to do some things in order to essentially free themselves. They have to collect souls, and we meet Pip and we meet Mr. X-Ray, or Dr. X-Ray, I should say. So what are your thoughts on this comic?
I loved it. I actually rated it higher than you. I gave it a 10 out of 10 sea monkeys.
I
I
wanted
thought it
to,
was
but
really
then you
fun.
always rate things lower than me, so I was like, I can't just go swinging at tens. She's gonna embarrass me, and so I
It
brought it
was
down a
funny
little
because we did the joint review,
bit.
so I went ahead and preemptively just put at the top above our ratings 10 out of 10, and then when you came back with a 9.5, I was like, "Damn, I gotta edit this to
I was gonna put a
9.75."
10, but I was like trying not to be too. I didn't
That's
want to like
funny.
imbalance ourselves too much, so I was like, I should have asked you first. That's what I should
No,
have
I
done. My bad.
thought it was really well, I mean, I could have told you because obviously I saw yours before I hit,
That's true.
save. But no, I thought it was fantastic. It's so different than everything else they're doing with Ghost Machine, like, but it's not too d like, did you also see the kid was reading the Junkyard Joe comic?
I did, yeah.
I thought
You're
that was
right
cute.
because Rook is kind of a heroic story. Redcoat and Geiger both are, the three books beforehand that have been out for about 6 months now are more or less heroic stories. Whereas this one is about we got a Boy Scout named Pip who seems very sweet. He wants to help this lady cross the street, and then he knows the skeletons in her closet and she doesn't ask for forgiveness. So he
He's evil.
steals, he like melts her and takes her soul. And that's like his 10,000th soul or something like that, or quest for 10,000. And that's when Dr. X-Ray was like, dude, what the heck, Pip? We have rules here, man. And you're like, oh, there's like some more to this. And then we get flashback to Dr. X-Ray, which is like a madman, as you described it, which is perfectly spot on. He's ripping off kids with stupid X-ray glasses, which come on, he's not
Well,
that
and it
immoral for doing.
sounds like they got fired from their ad agency job, and then they were trying to, like, make money selling this magic stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even not heroes. They're not even anti-heroes. Like, these are, like, evil, like,
They're
bad
stealing
people.
people's souls for a demonic presence higher than them so they can
But they only
get
got
out.
there because they're bad people, so it's kind of ironic that it's like, okay, you're a bad person. It's like the CIA hiring somebody who was
Osama bin
fraudulently writing
Laden.
checks. Okay,
Okay.
I was gonna
Well,
go
we went
that
in two
far.
different
I was gonna say,
directions.
like, catch me if you can. It's like, okay, we had to work really hard to catch you. You're clearly good at this, so now we're gonna have you catch other people like you.
Well, it's like Edward Snowden. Didn't the NSA have him, or did he left the NSA? I guess, and now Russia got him. So Russia's like
Oh,
a deep.
I don't
Yeah,
he's
there
not
you go.
still living in an airport.
No, no, but I do like that analogy. That's a really actually good one. I was thinking like, ooh, I would love to see Sam and Dean Winchester in this and see how they would escape this. And then that's how I knew I was poisoned. So
They would find out who's in charge and because there's somebody else in charge that we haven't seen. Sam and
yeah,
Dean would
it's Crowley.
find whoever's in charge, figure out how to kill them, and voila.
It's true. It was great. It was
Yeah, so
really
I
good.
absolutely love this, and I saw, like, the covers for, like, November and
Mhm.
December is Christmas themed. So
Oh
I'm super
yeah.
excited to continue to read this one. So I would say this wasn't the one I was the most excited about. I was most
No, that one
excited
hasn't come
for
out yet. When does that one
First
come out?
Ghost, yeah, and then the Halo and Hornsby because I love the idea of that. So if anybody has not heard about, I know we've talked about Ghost Machine, but we haven't really talked about too much in a while. They're just creating all these stories that don't really connect, but still kind of connect. And so there's some that still haven't come out. And Halo and Hornsby is two kids, and they have the demon child being raised with good parents and the angel child being raised with bad parents. And it's a social experiment. And I think that is so funny. You're going to get the nature versus nurture kind of argument, but I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
So I started Salem's Lot. Have you read that? Where did I put it? I probably put it in
no, I have. I've seen the movie.
the 1979 one.
Yes, and they did a remake, didn't they?
So the remake comes out tomorrow, which is now in the past. So the
Oh,
remake
that's
is
right.
on
Yeah.
HBO. So I'm not too far in. I'm only like 150 pages in. So I'm going to finish this before I watch it. I'm really liking it so far. This is Stephen King. This book's like from the 70s. Like you said, first movie was in 79. So they were supposed to release this in 2022, but because of COVID and everything, it got delayed. So it's now being released October 3rd, 2024 on Mean Girls Day. It's very mysterious. Apparently there's supposed to be vampires in it. Their description for the movie has vampires. The description, or if you buy the original cover, it has like a vampire on the cover. This one does not. And my girlfriend Brandy, Eric, and I are all reading it. She said that this one's going to not have vampires. So I don't really know. I think Stacy's reading it too.
I don't know either. I haven't read it yet, or what? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize it come out tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, they really haven't marketed it much. Actually, somebody on Nerd Initiative did a review.
Yeah, Stu actually had from Nerd Initiative had actually read it. Sorry, it's hot as hell in my room.
I thought you just wanted me to show the book. You were taking your sweater off.
Well, that too. I was taking my sweater off. Yes. But no, Stu from Nerd Initiative has actually reviewed it, and so I guess we'll have to watch it and find out, right? Do a little review.
I gotta finish the book first.
Once you finish the book.
Yes.
Well, what else is that? You got one more thing on here. What's the last thing you watched?
We watched Insidious last night. That was the first time.
I didn't get any of those. I didn't like Insidious.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting because it wasn't what I expected.
I guess that's probably why I didn't like it.
I guess I also liked that my big thing with a lot of these is, if you're really this scared in your house, it's really haunted, if you're really seeing things like...
I'm moving the fuck out.
Right. You're going to eat the mortgage. You're going to file bankruptcy. You're going to do what you need to do. And this is the only thing I was spoiled is they did move. But that didn't solve their problems.
No, there's like 6 more of those movies.
Yeah. What was funny is I'm like, oh, I bet it's a Striga. And my daughter's like, what? I'm like, oh, it's a witch who sucks the life force of children and puts them into a coma. And they have hands that look like that. They had the handprint and everything.
Called it.
But it wasn't that. Oh. But I'm not going to say what it is. Yeah, there's more of them. I think Braille and I probably will continue. I was surprised that when we turned it on, I was like, hey, it's more a Taggart. Like I recognized people. Yeah. I didn't know it was like legit movie.
What's his name? Patrick Wilson? He's also in it.
Maybe that sounds right. I don't remember what he's from, but I know he looked
familiar. Aquaman, dude.
Oh my God. He's evil brother.
Come on, man. He's in a lot of stuff. He's such a good actor.
Yeah, I knew he had been in. That's too funny. Wow. Huh. That's funny. But the reason we watched it was because Kaylee said it was the scariest house at Horror Nights.
Ooh, shout out to Kaylee, by the way, who turned 21 last week when you're listening to this. So guess what? She's still going to be DD. So have fun. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, both our daughters have mean girl birthdays.
They do. October 3rd.
And then I watched the first Omen, but I've never seen Omen.
The Omen's okay. Those movies are like very, very hit or miss. They're sometimes often too slow and like nothing happens till the last 10 minutes.
This was slow. So it's all about how Damien was created.
Yeah, the devil and his mom fucked. What more do you need, guys? Come on. We saw it in Supernatural.
I guess there's more, but in Supernatural she was tricked.
I know. Well,
she was tricked in it. But in this one, they like raise a girl specifically to carry the son of Satan.
Yeah.
But the reasoning for it is different. It was funny because there's one part I'm like, this is straight up Good Omens, but without the humor.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that's why it's called The First Omen.
But this one actually just came out this year.
Huh. So, oh yeah, it is newer. I do know that. So let's go into some news. This one kind of shocked me. What's this about Indiana Jones?
For some reason, they took off the older ones on Disney Plus. So I saw that somewhere, and then I went to Disney Plus to check, and you can only find the newer two. I don't know why. I don't know. I figured they owned it. I don't know. There must still be some contracting issues.
That's crazy. That makes
maybe they're putting them on Hulu so they can.
But Hulu's got stuff on Disney Plus. I don't know. Did you see that you can bundle Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max now for $16 a month?
I did not.
Yeah, that's a thing now. I saw it when I saw an ad, and I was like, "You can bundle Hulu, Disney Plus, and Max for $16 a month," and I'm like, honestly, that's not a bad deal at the moment because we got Agatha and we got Penguin. So
that's true. And Only Murders.
That's true. Yeah. See, there's a thing there. Going into DC though, they are going to be doing a Dick Grayson, Jason Todd animated movie called The Dynamic Duo. There is no release date yet, but James Gunn did confirm this on his social media. And the animation, they showed like I think a teaser or something from the animation studio that's doing it. It looks pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited to see Dick Grayson and Jason Todd's dynamic together because they're like the brothers who love each other, but they fight a lot. Like
So
Dick Grayson
brothers.
is very Batman, Bruce Wayne to a fault. Jason Todd is very by any means necessary. He doesn't well, of course, even when he was Robin, it's very much like I'll kill if I have to. Essentially, I'll maim, whatever it is, and especially after he comes back as Red Hood. So very very interesting there. But we do have some more Disney Plus news.
Yeah, so Disney Plus is launching live channels. So I feel like it's the
So
whole
we're
the
back at
circle of
cable.
life of cable. Yeah. So some of the channels look like they'll have a Halloween stream, Hots and Heroes, which is basically Marvel and Star Wars, throwbacks, documentaries. I get it to a degree because think how much time you spend looking for something that you want to watch, like especially when you just want to put something on in the background. And I feel like that's like Josh would just put on Marvel. Why are you giggling? What did I do?
I'm just laughing at the fact that we're back at cable, but you're so right because if we just still had cable, it'd be like, well, this is what's on. All right, I guess it's on in the background. I'm going to take that nap. I'm going to clean the house versus like an hour later, like, what do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want to watch? I don't know. I've gone through 7 different streaming services and
Right.
I can't make a decision. I'm so overwhelmed because there's too many choices.
Right. And it's not like you're at Blockbuster where they're going to kick you out.
Yeah, God. And there's no porn section either. So like, Jesus Christ, man. But it's just hilarious. Like we have come so full circle that we're back to cable essentially. Yeah, they have documentaries, throwbacks, Marvel, Star Wars, and a Halloween channel. I haven't checked any of this out. Have you checked it out yet?
No, I haven't.
Maybe I'll give it a spin this weekend. We'll see, but I don't know. And
Yeah. I mean, we just
one,
put on Nightmare on repeat during this time of year, I feel like.
I haven't really watched anything spooky other than Supernatural, but that will change pretty soon. Don't worry, that's going to change. I'm gonna get into the spooky stuff now. Our last bit of news is that Star-Lord is finally coming to Epcot near
That's
Cosmic Rewind.
fantastic.
It really is. I'm surprised they didn't have that the second that ride opened, at least.
He was at Hollywood Studios when Logan was a baby. And then they closed, like, it was him and Baby Groot, a little animatronic Baby Groot. And then they don't, like, I don't understand. Like, there's room over there. Like, it's not like he would be in the way. Like, it's
Is
right
there
near
like a
where.
right problem? But
No,
I
because
don't
he
get
used
it.
to be at Hollywood Studios. Like, they're allowed to do whatever they want with Star-Lord. I don't know why they don't have the dance parties over there. I have no idea.
Honestly, like it makes no sense because Avengers Campus, it gets all that stuff. They do some
Yeah.
really cool stuff out there.
I
So
bet
I'm
they could probably
curious.
do Agatha. I don't think I've ever
Oh,
seen Agatha at Islands. I don't
that would
know
be
the
pretty cool.
exacts. That would be
Jeez.
so
St.
cool.
Louis. Yeah, that would actually, yeah, actually, I'm surprised. I am surprised. I don't know.
There are
Well,
things I just don't understand,
nothing makes
and I
sense to
never
just us
will.
plebs. So let's go into some things that do make sense. And that is going to be some of our Halloween favorites, such as comic books, movies, TV shows. Who knows?
Soundtracks.
Soundtracks. So get that beat going.
I
And
meant to
then,
add that in
yeah.
mods.
Anyways, we'll be right back in just a moment. What's up, guys? We're back. We are back, and we're going to kick this off with comic books, man. Let's talk some comics, all right? We're gonna talk some spooky comics. So, Lauren, let's go back and forth on this. You give one, I give one.
Yeah, because some of yours I'm like, oh, that would be a good one. I read that. That was spooky.
Yeah, you do have a couple good ones on here too that I didn't think of because there's just like sometimes there's so many. So we're not giving you like the full list of millions of comics. We're just gonna give you some of our favorites. We'll save the rest for next year. Maybe every year we're just going to keep giving you new recommendations. Hopefully, who knows?
Yeah, because that was why we were originally going to do a whole episode on just comic recommendations. And I'm like, I don't know that everybody would love that. So this is just everything to make your spooky season a little bit spookier. This is like Home and Gardens episode for the
Oh,
spooky lover. This
good
is your I am
housekeeping.
Martha Stewart. Matt's practically Snoop Dogg.
Oh
So
my god.
without the weed.
Oh my god. I feel so honored right now. You're right. I'm into football. I am literally everywhere across all different TV shows and podcasts. Thank you. Thank you. That made
Call
my
you
day. Thank you.
Matt. It doesn't work as well
Thank
as
you.
Snoop.
Nope.
Okay, so my
SDOGG.
My number one, I'm going to go with a classic because this really kind of helped me get in more so into comic books, is The Walking Dead. Whether
Oh
you're
yeah.
still watching the show, if you gave up on the show a while ago, the comic was great from beginning to end. I absolutely loved it. You can read it in black and white. They're re-releasing it right now in color, so you can still get it every month right now. And I really, really, truly loved the comic. So that's my number one. And how fun is it that the first episode ever of The Walking Dead aired on Halloween in
I
2010?
hardcore agree on this because it's a comic book. Actually, my brother who doesn't read comics Him and I used to spend hours in Barnes and Noble in Burlington, Mass. Like that was our religious experience, was going to this Barnes and Noble, 2 stories. We'd get our Starbucks, especially this time of year, we'd get our chai, we'd go upstairs and we would just find something to read. He's big into like zombie adventure books. So like that's kind of how we would do it. And then I found this graphic novel section. I kind of wandered in, was looking, and then I saw The Walking Dead and I was like, zombies, we like this. What is this? Checked it out. Yeah, I read like the first batch of volumes for this, and then it turned into a show that my dad and I actually watched together before I left for the military. And obviously, we both fell off. He stayed around way longer than I did, but it's definitely one that has a very special place in my heart, and I know you still very much enjoy it. So I can live through you and get my updates to you, because it's a really good comic. It's a really good story. It really
Yeah.
truly is.
And it's very ingrained into our pop culture at this point too. And
Oh yeah,
Robert Kirkman's gone on to do Invincible, and he's done so many great stories. And I gotta tell you, he loves happy endings, and I love happy endings. And I need to start another Robert Kirkman one. Since Oblivion Song, I haven't read a
oh
Robert Kirkman
yeah.
book. I need to pick one up. But yeah, I started getting it from the library, and then once I was caught up with, I had all the ones at the library, and then the show was catching up to the comics. So that is when I first started going to the comic book store regularly, and when I got my first box. And like my comic shop is so tiny, you only have to have one book a month for them to hold it for you. Whereas like the bigger ones are like, oh, you need a minimum of three, in your box a month. And 10 years later or 12 years, the first time I went into that comic book shop, I was pregnant with Brielle. So
Oh
it's
wow.
yeah, and they had just opened too. They just celebrated their 13th anniversary. Um, but yeah, it's so crazy because they walked me through and they told me, okay, this is the last volume you read. This is the issue you need now. We'll get it in your box. And that was then when I went to go pick it up, I was like, oh, I'm going to get this Wolverine one and I'm going to get this one. And so that's how
And
I
here we
started
are.
consistently reading comics. But
Dang.
yeah, the next one on my list has got to be on your list because you're the one that told me to read it.
Yes. Well, Hyde Street. We already talked about it. Need I say more? I'll just go to that one. But I'm going to jump ahead actually and go to Ice Cream Man.
Oh,
This is probably my favorite horror comic because it's like an
I need
anthology
to read this
series.
because they're making a show of this.
Remind me when I come to Orlando in a couple weeks. I've got like the first 8 volumes of this. So remind me, I'll bring it with me for you to read. But it is an anthology, and I love anthologies, especially in horror, because it's just great. And there's one common theme: the
Yeah.
Ice Cream Man, who's like a demon. He's always there, and some of them are really spooky. Some of them are more trippy. It's just
So it's
like
like
this
reading a
perfect.
book of Stephen King shorts.
Yes, they're not all like flat out scary, horror, blood, guts, killing. Like there's some really trippy, weird stuff that goes on. And that's kind of why I like it. Like the artwork is just top notch. Like it's really cool what they do with a lot of the colors and things with the artwork. The stories themselves are very clever. It's an ongoing thing from Image Comics. I cannot speak enough about how much I love Ice Cream Man. So that's my next one I'm going to go with. This next one for you, I feel like if you're going down your list, I'm a big fan of as well.
Yeah, this is the one I was saying you recommended is Something's Killing the Children. So
Yes.
you had been recommending it for a while, and then I just was grabbed the volume, and now I'm almost caught up, and they're going to be at New York Comic Con. So today I actually ordered, funny enough, from Target. They were cheap at Target. The first
Really?
4 volumes of House of Slaughter. Because
Oh
I'm caught up.
yeah.
I've read the first 7 volumes of Something's Killing the Children. And if you get the volumes, it tends to be cheaper. So you have to have patience.
In the long run,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, and your comic book shops usually will have the volumes as well. House of Slaughter, like one of the volumes was like $10, whereas sometimes they're like 15 on at the comic shop or anything. And I was just trying to get them for as cheap as possible. So they're creating kind of like a universe here. So Something's Killing the Children is about these monsters that literally kill children and anybody who gets in their way, but only kids can see them or people who have gone through a ritual to be able to see them. You definitely get some hints of supernatural in that it's a secret that these monsters are real. But the difference between what these people do who kill the monsters and the Winchesters is they kill their survivors too, who figure out what's going
Yeah.
on or have an idea of what's going on. So it gets really dark, and they're going to be making this into a Netflix series. And one of the things I'm really curious about is like, there's dead kids in the comic book. Like, how far are they going to go
I am too.
in the show? And like, the art's really cool. So it's not like, it's graphic, but it's not like overly graphic because it's not
Right.
super realistic.
They're not showing kids getting like slaughtered by any means, but I mean, it's about children
I mean,
can
they
only see
kind
these
of
monsters.
are at times. Yeah, but I mean, there's times where I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oof, I just need to not look at that." And it's
It
a cartoon.
it is, yeah, dude. Very interested too. It's
Drawing, not a cartoon.
so good. So damn good. This next one, I'm gonna go into another anthology series, which is Creep Show. It's based on the series on Shudder. I like it because it's another anthology series. Very just different horror, just horror. Some of them are goofy. Like if you get a chance to watch it on Shudder, I highly recommend doing like the 30-day free trial through Amazon Prime. It's fun. Cannot say enough. There's some goofy ones, some more serious ones, things of that nature. But then the next two I want to talk about real quick are from Distillery Comics. The first is Spectrograph. So James Tynion the fourth, who does Something Is Killing the Children, and
And that's
Christian
new, so
Ward.
it's a great time to get in on it.
Yes, there's only
Two?
three issues, I believe, out right now.
Oh.
And it's basically about this real estate agent who's just a really crappy person. She really just
She is a child services needs to go to her house.
she essentially to sell this house, which would make her a big commission, she ditches her child who's in its high chair. Home Alone. We're talking less than a year old.
Like, she's worse than Kevin McAllister's mom.
She hangs out with Casey Anthony. And so she goes there. She's now trapped in this house because the whole idea is like they're creating a doorway to the other side, and these creatures come out, and she gets tricked, and they can't find their way out. And the art, if you know Christian Ward, man, need I say more about his artwork? The artwork is so damn trippy. It's full of like pinks, purples, blues, reds. Like he really gets really take a drink every time I say really trippy with the artwork. Such a good comic book. That is one I cannot recommend enough. And then the other one from Distillery real quick is White Boat from Scott Snyder. Actually, it's essentially about this guy, his brother drowned at sea while they're all on a boat during a storm, and he carries a lot of guilt because he should have been on the bottom bunk, but instead he was on the top. So his brother was on the bottom and he died. And now he goes to this island, and these people on this white boat, hey, your brother's on this island. He goes to this island. It's a very trippy horror, grotesque body horror type style. That's again another comic that's only a couple issues in, so you really aren't far behind at all. Distillery right there. Distillery Media, cannot recommend that enough. Scott Snyder does amazing things.
I mean, honestly, with even like Something's Killing the Children, they're up to like issue 36 or something. But I mean, they're comics, so you go through
Comics, yeah, they're not long reads.
Right.
They're,
And if
they're
you
really not.
don't care about, making your bookshelf look pretty or anything, the library's got a lot of them. And like, like I was saying before, like I read Walking Dead from the library until I like caught up, because like they're not going to get the new issues every Wednesday. They're going to wait until they get donated the graphic novels.
Right.
But yeah,
No, to go to your local library anyways, more so like that's the perfect way to go and get free comics and things to read. Come on, man.
When you're there next month voting, check out the comic section while you're there.
That's smart. Smart. What else you got?
So the next is the Marvel Blood Hunt series. We talked about this a little bit over the summer. I read a few of them. I read some of the Black Panther, the Wolverine, and then the Captain Jack, Union Jack. I'm like, Captain Jack?
Jack
Union
Sparrow.
Jack ones. Well, I was going to Jack Harkness. I wasn't even going to Sparrow.
Oh.
But there wasn't anything that was like, oh my God, this is going to blow your mind. But it was just kind of fun seeing some of your heroes as vampires and how they handled it and like what the overall story was. And with that being said, you could also pick up a Blade comic. I mean, you're going to have vampires, because it's the thing, what's different than Christmas is it just has to be spooky to give you the Halloween feels.
True.
And when it takes place during Halloween, I feel like it makes it a little bit better.
That's true.
Yeah. So those are all, there was like 3 issues for each character, it seemed like, and they did it across 20 plus books, I believe.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a lot of them.
Marvel and DC do some pretty cool things as far as like vampires and stuff go. So really Marvel Zombies is another one you can read. DC versus Vampires. That's a good one. There's a plethora of Marvel and DC ones that are really good. And then honestly, like the other 2 that I want to round out are Hellboy and Sandman. Like Hellboy's good for the creatures. Sandman is about like the devil and, things of that nature. So those are really good comics.
I always wanted to read that. And that's Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. The Netflix show was awesome. Cannot recommend that one enough too, because that was awesome. So those are the
Did they
last two.
cancel it early
They,
or did
I
they finish it?
think they're working on a season 2. I don't know. I haven't seen any updates
Well, with
actually.
Neil Gaiman now, who knows?
True. And then the last one I definitely think you should read from Magma Comics in the Hive Mind is Principles of Necromancy. That's a
Ooh,
really
that
good.
one's creepy,
That's
creepy.
really creepy. A lot of body horror. Dr. Eamon Eyes is out there figuring out how to prolong life, and that's all I'm going to say with that one. Um, I
Looks like
don't.
Sandman season 2 is going on. Oh, reveals Loki, Thor, and Odin. So it's got some Norse mythology.
Oh, sick.
So there's stuff that just came out about Sandman season 2. So there's definitely
Huh.
stuff going on. Good things are coming. Deadline exclusively broke the news of Netflix greenlighting. Oh, this was 2022. There
Ah,
is no official release date for season 2, but Netflix projects 2025.
hopefully,
There you
hopefully.
go. So maybe I'll need to read those comics and watch the first season. Maybe we'll have to have a Sandman show in the new
Ooh,
year.
good call. Yeah.
Already planning for 2025.
Oh my god, time flies when you're having fun. Let's move into books. Like, do you have any
Wait, I have a
specific?
couple of shout
Oh,
outs to some of our guests. So we've interviewed quite a few creators, and you can find all these on our YouTube. You can find all these on our podcasting platforms and whatnot. But there were some spooky ones. So Dime Store Detective is one we recently did. Highly recommend that. That's a Kickstarter. Granite State Punk is another one that was really creepy and had some like witch vibes going on and all sorts of cool stuff. And then Fugitive Poems, we've had them on a few times. They'll come on our live shows too to talk about it because it's an anthology and they're regularly putting out new books. And with an anthology, some of them are hilarious, some of them are dark, some of like they're all over the place. And I think anthologies, I really feel like this is their home as horror. Like I didn't even think about that till you said it. It's like it makes sense with horror. Like with some of the things, I'm just like, okay, I just got invested in this character. I'm not ready to move on. But with the horror, it's like you need to put it away and move to the next story sometimes.
I
So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I got.
For some reason, I just think anthology because I mean, most horror movies are like an hour and a half, and they can even drag too long at times. So I feel like if you break them up, then there's nothing bad about there. But yeah, moving into books, really, I mean, obviously Stephen King is like the king of horror, right? But aside from that, man, Goosebumps. I that is
Grew up
one
on
I'm
Goosebumps.
always gonna love, dude. R.L. Stein. I can't recommend Goosebumps enough. I haven't really read any good horror books personally that aren't comic books.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean, Stephen King is the horror, and R.L. Stein, who did Fear Street and Goosebumps. Those would be my big recommendations there.
Yeah.
Definitely read those.
I mean, I definitely fell in love with reading with Babysitter's Club and American Girl and stuff,
Yeah.
but then I went to Goosebumps, and then I remember Fear Street, like, I felt like the way Fear Street is written, it's the transition between reading little kid books and adult books, and I just
Yeah.
remember loving the way he would describe his characters, and I fell in love with that. And so I didn't dip my toes into reading horror until last year. So, I've only read a handful of Stephen King now. I'm on the Salem's Lot. But one I wanted to give a shout out to um, is Sour Candy. So this is kind of a
Oh,
short
I thought you were
story.
putting candy there, like Lauren's favorite thing is Sour Patch Kids. I was like, Lauren, you
No.
put this in the wrong spot.
So this is actually shout out to my friend Ian. His sister is big into a lot. She won't watch Supernatural, but she's big into a lot of the other like dark stuff. And she recommended this book called Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. It is so creepy. And like one of the things whenever I'm watching or reading anything horror, I think, what would Sam and Dean do? And they'd make it all better. I don't know what Sam and Dean would have done in this.
Oh yeah.
So it's called Sour Candy. The cover is like a giant antlers and stuff on like a body. It's a pretty quick read and it's creepy as all hell. So if you want to be creeped out while reading a book, this is the one.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Well, do you want to move into some lighthearted, spooky movies?
Yes, let's
All
take it
right.
to a different
Well,
area.
one we can both agree on is Hocus Pocus, and another one we can agree on. Obviously, Hocus Pocus speaks for itself. We did a whole episode. Hubie Halloween, man, that's another one we can speak for. I unapologetically love Hubie Halloween. I do
So
not apologize for it. It's stupid. It's
it
fun.
is stupid, but it's fun. Yeah.
Shut your brain off. It's Adam Sandler doing his stupid voices, but I have so much fun. You can yell at, argue with the wall. I don't care.
There's a guy in this book in the Salem's Lot that like killed his wife and then killed himself, and his name's Hubie. And I'm like,
Oh, I
I've
was like,
never
where are we
heard of
going
another
with this?
Hubie
This
other
is
than
very
Hubie Halloween.
lighthearted.
Well, I'm like, I wonder if he's named after that. I mean, Stephen King's very well known.
Yeah, true.
Maybe. Have you met any other Hubies?
No, no, I've never
Which
met a
is
Hubie.
too.
I never even met the first one in the movie. Come on, it's a movie.
Right? So there you go. So that I think it's a nod to Stephen King. Well played, Adam Sandler.
All right. There you go. What do you got? What's a good recommendation you got?
Ooh, Tales from the Crypt. That's good. Of course, I got to go Nightmare Before Christmas. That's an easy one. That's my
Come on, yeah.
all-time favorite
We did
Halloween
an
and
episode
Christmas
on that too.
movie. I think we've done a few at this point. Yeah, Hocus Pocus, Hubie Halloween, Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. My kids hate the Great Pumpkin,
Ew,
Charlie
I
Brown,
hate
and
Charlie
I
Brown so much.
love it. No, to me, it's like it makes me feel like
You
it's
want to piss
fall.
Carrie off when we visit? Is put Charlie Brown on.
Oh, I got the DVD.
Just put it
I'll
on. Don't say
I'll piss my
anything and
kids
walk
off
out of the
too.
room and see what she has to. I just want to see the look she has.
Anytime Logan brings me a rock, I'm always like, I got a rock. Like I
Ugh.
can't not say it. That's what Charlie Brown says. That's what he gets
First
me
of
to
all,
go
like,
trick or treating.
dude, whoever the parents are in Charlie Brown, like they let their kid be a dust ball. Come on, man. And
I know
whoever
that'd be
like
child services
Lucy's
today.
parents are need a big ass whooping. Don't get me. I don't like
And
Charlie
they call the
Brown.
kid Pigpen. It's cute.
I
I
do.
like the Christmas one too.
Oh God, I don't.
So I have Monster
Anyways, yeah. What do you got?
Squad. Have you watched that one yet? You need to watch Monster Squad.
Oh my
Did you
God,
watch it yet?
I think we just had a horror moment on this recording because like I jumped because like you said, do you watch it yet? And I heard like this loud noise. I went, "Rah!" And I was like, the demons are coming through the microphone. Oh my God, she's turning into a demon because I said I didn't like Charlie Brown. No, I have watched Monster Squad. I think like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Am I gonna get murdered if I said no? Like, what's the right
No, I
answer?
just figured it was a movie that you would enjoy because it has the class. It's from the 80s though, so there's some bitches and there's some kids smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. Um, but it's fun to watch, but your kids probably need to be older than you think they should be before you watch it.
My one child has seen Deadpool and Wolverine, so whatever.
He can probably watch it. But if he
Literally
starts
nothing
smoking and
matters.
saying bitch, there's no smoking. Well, there's smoking
No,
cigars, but that's
I'm gonna
different.
walk out to the garage.
My
Yeah.
last lighthearted movie recommendation, and this does not get a lot of Halloween love, but it literally has a whole scene on Halloween, is E.T. E.T. is a
Because
Halloween
E.T. is
movie.
not that good of a movie. I said what I said.
Did you just say E.T. is not a good movie? Is that what you said?
E.T.'s very overrated. I said what I
Have you
said.
not seen? There's a whole scene where Elliot and E.T. get drunk. And then all the frogs get away that were going to be dissected. It's such a cute, fun movie. How do you not like
Yes.
E.T.? We're going to do an episode.
Very easily. No, we should actually, because I would like to get some stuff off my chest. Yeah. So I have some
Unbelievable.
Universal
You think I know a
monsters.
guy.
You know, like Frankenstein, all of them. I feel like they're pretty lighthearted because they're not spooky. They're not scary. They're like very old and
I guess
retro.
at this point because they're cheesy. I actually did list that, but like I really have not watched any old school monster movies. Like I need to do that.
Interesting. I haven't either in a little bit. I'm going to change that this year. So I like those. I like, Tales from the Crypt. That's another anthology with a little goofy puppet. Like, how could you not love that stuff? It's another
No,
goofy.
that makes me think of Elvira.
And then I want to shout out the Disney Channel from my youth for Don't Look Under the Bed and Under Wraps. They actually made an Under Wraps too, which is also kind of fun. So going to lead off with that or end with that. Going into scary.
Shout out to all the Haunted Mansions, including the Muppet ones.
Of course. Muppet one's the GOAT. But moving on to the actual scary, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you right now, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, of course, those slasher films right there. 30 Days of Night is one I want to throw out because I don't think that movie gets enough love with Josh Hartnett. He is a cop.
Josh Hartnett, 30 Days of Night?
Yeah.
I know he's in 40 Days.
In Alaska, like that northern town of Alaska. And
It's
they get
got
30
Josh
Days
Hartnett.
of Night.
I'll watch it.
So it turns to dark and like the vampires come and they're basically trying to survive for 30 days during darkness and the vampires. Dude,
he's in 2 movies that are like 30 days, 40 days.
30 Days of Night. This one, he's trying not to die. The other one, he's trying not to have sex. So, dude, it's so good. Trust me. Watch 30 Days of Night. It is so good. It's creepy too.
Like this main dude is not
the vampire
Hartnett,
movie.
whatever this picture came up.
Lauren found the
Yeah, I
wrong
see.
30 Days of Night. It's
No,
I
it's
don't know.
him. No, I see, and Ben
What
Foster's in this. I
website
see
are
Josh
you
Hartnett.
on?
No, it just says the official trailer, and whatever the guy is that they chose for the official trailer is, like, not Josh Hartnett. Yeah, 2007. Okay, I will have to check that one out.
Yeah,
You
it's
could
so good.
argue I was gonna say some guys might argue that the other movie he's in with 40 Days might be a horror movie because he can't, do what he
Ah,
needs to do for 40
ah.
days.
Yes. So I got that one. I do want to talk about the VHS franchise. Like Charlie and I, my good friend Charlie there, we do a podcast called The Real Buffs. We watched that together once upon a time. It's another anthology, basically shot through the scenes of like an old school camcorder. They've gotten more and more ridiculous. Like the original ones are more horror based. The There's a new one, VHS Beyond, that's out now. I definitely haven't watched it yet, but I want to because I watched 84 last year. And yeah, they're just like fun anthologies shot through a video camera, so they're that
Hence the
POV
name.
style, and so it's very good. American Werewolf in Paris and London, both really good. Some of the
But I didn't think they were scary, though. I
no,
think I
but
only saw London.
they do transform very like painfully almost. Like I really love those. The Exorcist, the original one, is a really good one for me. And then the last one I want to do is Hell House. It's these people going to this place, and it's like a haunted house where people get murdered and stuff. They're doing documentaries there. Another one. I just happened to watch it one day. I wanted to put Terrifier on
I don't
there.
think I've
Like
seen it either.
the first Terrifier movie, it might not be called Terrifier with Art the Clown is good, but they've gotten more and more just gore, torture porn that I don't care for them now. So that's what I've got.
Was this like a clown in Hell House?
Yes, there is. Yes.
Oof. I know there's an episode of Supernatural named Hell House, but I think it came
Uh,
out before this movie.
yeah, no, there's like clowns and stuff involved. It's spooky. It's supernatural. It's another one of those like documentary style films. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
What you
So I do
got?
want to give a shout out to Halloween, just because with all the horror, like Halloween is the only monster that really just terrorizes on Halloween. He's really true to the holiday, and I just feel like we need to give that a nod because, like, the first Halloween is a
It's
movie that
November
comes.
1st, Lori. I'll see you next year, you bitch.
I mean, he waits until like the sun starts coming up. I respect that till the whole Samhain celebration kicks off. But you can put it on and like, yeah, it just feels like it's the season. It's just because there's pumpkins and jack o'
Evil
lanterns
dies
and
tonight.
yeah. So
Evil
shout out
dies
to him.
tonight.
Trick or treat is another one because it's
Oh,
on
so good.
Halloween, and that's an.
Roosevelt's has a trick or treat collection. Just saying.
I cannot believe how long it took me to watch that movie. Uh, because it's so great. I do feel like it's underrated. I feel like it's popular enough to have a Roosevelt shirt, but I do feel like it is
Wish I was
underrated.
popular enough to have a Roosevelt shirt, but it's fine.
I did a shout out to Werewolf by Night, and then another one, Amityville Horror. I think it's
The
very
Ryan Reynolds
creepy.
one or like the old school one?
Yeah,
The Ryan Reynolds
no,
one?
the Ryan Reynolds one, because
You
I
know,
feel
a
like
lot of
there's like
people
a
forget about him being in that movie too.
right because he's not Deadpool in that movie. You still get to see a shirtless
It's a
Ryan
good
Reynolds, though.
movie.
He looks
He
pretty
turns
hot
into
in
a
it.
psychopath who tries to kill his family.
Yes, 100% psychopath, but it's really like creepy. There's mystery to it, and of course, the fact that it's possibly a real haunting always adds a little extra element. Oh, what the fuck? We watched another weird ass movie this past weekend because we were all in an Airbnb together. So when we came back from the music festival, except for one
Oh,
night we watched Back to the Future too.
could be a horror movie
um,
depending on your thoughts, but
yeah, I guess so. There was another weird one we watched with Glenn Close, and the house was
uh,
haunted, and
you're right.
I don't
101
remember what.
Dalmatians. Oh, were
Yep.
you talking? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Her head went backwards or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my
And it's her
God. I
daughter
know
and her grandkid. She's living with them.
it's, I can't
It
remember.
just came out, I think. Here.
I know what you're talking about for some reason. I know what you're
We can pull
talking
it up
about.
a minute.
All right.
Glenn
Well,
Close.
while you're doing that, let's go into some TV shows or episodes of TV shows. I'm going to go down my list real quick. So the Halloween Baking Championship. I love me some baking championships, especially
The
themed ones.
Deliverance. Sorry.
Oh, that wasn't what I was thinking of for some reason. Maybe I was thinking of like Casper a long time ago. I don't know. Or maybe I was thinking about that movie that I just watched recently with Meryl Streep. That might have been it. Anyways, all I do have to talk about a couple New Girl episodes. So the first one is Keaton, where they catfish Schmidt into thinking that Michael Keaton is going to be at their Halloween party. And so he spends the entire night trying to meet Michael Keaton, aka the Batman. And then the other one is Halloween, where Nick conquers his fear of haunted houses. Love the show, The New Girl. Big fan of it. And then another one is Parks and Rec, which is Recall Vote. It's where the people are trying to decide whether or not they're going to vote to recall Leslie Knope out of office. Meanwhile, she's turned City Hall into a haunted house and kind of goes from there. So need I say more? And then
Well, you
really
get them
honest.
too with Aubrey and Chris Pratt doing the Halloween
Yeah.
party.
Aside from that, though, of course, the Slutty Pumpkin from How I Met Your Mother with Katie Holmes, that's
Katie
going to be
Holmes,
it.
yes.
Yes. Supernatural, like really take your pick. Stranger Things is a good one. WandaVision episode 7, where we get their OG costumes from the comics. And then, I mean, Midnight Mass is probably my favorite Mike Flanagan show. So I'll let you kind of take it from here to hitting those real quick.
Yeah, so Mike Flanagan, 2018, you have Haunting on Hill House. I think that was the best one. Then you have Haunting of Bly Manor, which for some reason I didn't put what year it was. So it's 2019 or 2020. And then Midnight Mass is 2021. The Midnight Club was 2022. And then this last year, it was The Fall of House Usher, which was my second favorite. That was all very Edgar Allan Poe. If you're not familiar with these, they're all on Netflix. They were all made for Netflix. You know, like Matt said, they're all Mike Flanagan. I'm sure if you put Mike Flanagan into Netflix, they'll come up. They're all series, but they're like just standalone series, but you see the same actors throughout all of them. And the boy from that great movie called E.T. is in all of them. I think
Oh,
he's even in the
yes.
Midnight Club, isn't he?
That's true. He is. I think so.
Yeah. So what was funny is when I searched this up, because I was like, oh, I always forget one when I'm trying to make the list. I always forget the name of the Midnight Club. And so when I Googled it, apparently there was a 2017 Mike Flanagan movie. I guess this is a movie, not a series, that is on Netflix called Gerald's Game. And it's based on a 1992 Stephen King novel. And it's like, and
Ooh.
it has the mom, the woman who's in all of them, who's the really pretty woman who was in Son-in-Law, and she's in all of the Mike Flanagan movies too.
I don't remember.
She's the mom in The Haunting on Hill House.
I know you're talking about, but I'm terrible. Come on, Lauren.
Okay,
Don't put
I
me
don't know
on
her
spot.
name, but I love her. Brielle was watching Son-in-Law the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot she was in this. So it's her and her husband, and the husband is in Fall of House Usher. He's like the dad of the head of the household. And so they're married, and they decide to go to a cabin to save their marriage. And he wants to do some kinky shit and handcuff her to the bed. He then has a heart attack and falls on top of her, and she's
Wow,
stuck
that's
and
the way
starts
I want to go.
hallucinating. Maybe for him, not for her.
Like I said, I don't care what happens. I'm dead at that point.
So I haven't watched it yet because I literally looked this up today, and I was like, all right, so I'm going to watch this. And if you're looking for something with a little less sex in it, the Fear Street series on Netflix is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like 3 movies, and they go through like the decades.
They
It's
get
like the
pretty
70s and the
like
90s, and
suspenseful.
they were way scarier than I thought they were going to be, because I thought they were going to be like young adult. No, they're freaking creepy, but they're actually really good. So Fear Street on Netflix. It was funny, I forgot about that. And then today I was at Target, and 2 cashiers were talking to each other about scary stuff. And the one guy goes, "Have you seen Fear Street on Netflix?" I'm like, oh, I gotta add that.
Duh, I
So shout
have.
out to the random dude at Target.
Shouts.
And then Spudnik and Friends. That's a great Halloween episode. I know you don't watch that, but it is a great one. And I know you mentioned Supernatural, so they don't have too many Halloween ones, but the Halloween ones they do have are pretty great. It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester Monster Movie, takes place during October.
I do love Monster Movie.
And then season 14 is one of the most underrated episodes of Supernatural.
Scooby-Doo.
And it takes place on Halloween, and it's called Mint Condition.
Oh.
But Scooby-Doo's not Halloween.
Oh, I just associate Scooby-Doo with Halloween. You're right. Now, we were going to talk about candy and some traditions and music playlists, but you know what, folks? You're going to have to go ahead and listen to our Cantina Hour for that one. I think we're going to talk about it on Cantina Hour. So if you have not, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. Find us on YouTube because we go live to talk. Like this past week, we talked about Agatha Penguin, episode 3 and episode 2. And then we're going to wrap up with some candy that we love, some traditions that we love, and some of the music playlist. And then next week, we're going to go into George Romero, who is the godfather, if you will, of zombie films. And the only way you can find that is by following, liking, subscribe, all that good stuff on any social media platform, podcasting platform, YouTube, Hopsgeek News. Thanks for hanging out with us, though. And we will see you guys here soon. Have a very, very spooky week, my friends.